In today's video, we are going to be talking about high blood pressure or hypertension and 3 ways to lower it naturally at home. Hypertension is a condition where your blood pressure is higher than it should be, increasing your risk of heart attack and stroke. It is the second biggest risk factor for disease behind a poor diet. And unfortunately, it is estimated that 26% of people worldwide have high blood pressure. That is 1 billion people. But here's the thing. While some people might be genetically predisposed to high blood pressure, it is a symptom of mainly lifestyle choices, and it can be brought down to within the normal range when we make the right changes. Now, I know you probably think you know at least one thing I'm going to say in this video, and that is to eat less salt. But what if I told you that salt doesn't actually cause high blood pressure? You heard me right. 80% of people with normal blood pressure do not see any change to blood pressure when they consume more salt. 75% of people with hypertension do not see any change, and 55% of people with full-blown hypertension do not see any change. And if you're one of the people who does see an increase in your blood pressure when you eat more salt, in almost all cases, when the underlying condition that is causing your high blood pressure is addressed, this no longer happens. And we will get more into that later in this video. On top of that, a reduction in sodium only results in a modest reduction in blood pressure. It is no more than a 7% reduction for those with hypertension and no more than 3% for those with normal blood pressure. One review paper examined studies done on salt consumption and hypertension and concluded there is no definitive proof that sodium restriction reduces cardiovascular events or death. So no, you are not going to hear me telling you to reduce your salt consumption in this video. Sodium is an essential electrolyte that is critical for our health. Instead, I'm going to be giving you 3 strategies that actually work that you can start implementing today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate. I'm a health coach and I post videos on a high-fat, nutrient-dense way of eating. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, feel free to share, and make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where I share new posts every single day. Today's video is sponsored by 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀, a genetics testing and analysis company that gives you personalized health recommendations based on your genes. We're going to talk later about how you can use 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 to find out if you are at an increased risk of high blood pressure. But in the meantime, if you want to check them out, you can head to healthcoachkate.com/𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀. All right, so the topic of today is high blood pressure and how to lower it naturally. We're going to start off talking about what causes high blood pressure, and then we will get into the 3 steps you can take to lower it. Because I think understanding the root cause helps you to understand how your lifestyle choices can impact it. What causes high blood pressure? Blood pressure refers to a measurement of how hard your blood is pressing against the walls of your blood vessels. This pressure increases when your heart pumps harder or when your blood vessels narrow. Things such as exercise can increase your blood pressure temporarily, which makes sense because your heart is working harder. But chronic high blood pressure is when it becomes a concern. Normal blood pressure is considered to be between 90/60 and 120/80. The first number is the force of your heartbeats, and the second is the force between your heartbeats. High blood pressure is considered to be anything above 130/80. There are 2 types of high blood pressure: primary, also known as essential, and secondary. Primary or essential seems to develop over time, and this is the one we're going to be focusing on today. Secondary is directly caused by certain medications and conditions. And here's the thing with high blood pressure. It isn't so much a condition as it is often referred to, but rather a symptom. And a symptom of what, you might be asking? The answer is insulin resistance. Over 50% of people with high blood pressure have insulin resistance, and it is estimated that this number could be as high as 90. A 2014 study concluded that essential hypertension is significantly associated with higher mean fasting insulin levels and insulin resistance. Hyperinsulinemia plays a possible role in the pathophysiology of essential hypertension, with insulin resistance being the likely predominant mechanism. And if you have no idea what insulin resistance is, it is something that I talk a lot about on my channel. It is the underlying condition for a lot of modern diseases, but it often goes undiagnosed because healthcare practitioners do not routinely check fasting insulin. Insulin is a hormone that is responsible for taking the excess sugar from our blood and transporting it to our cells, so our cells can use it for energy. When we become insulin resistant, our cells stop responding to the actions of insulin, causing our insulin levels to remain high. This is known as hyperinsulinemia and is the cause of high blood pressure and other associated symptoms and conditions. I won't explain it too much more in this video because I know you guys are probably waiting for me to get into the tips, but if you want to understand insulin resistance better and figure out if you have it, you can check out this video afterwards. But yes, as I was saying, insulin resistance is the root cause of high blood pressure. The good news is that you can reverse insulin resistance and get your cells to be more sensitive to insulin again. And this will happen simultaneously as you work to lower your blood pressure. But with that being said, let's get into the 3 steps. Number 1, take apple cider vinegar before your meals. Taking 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water before you eat can help to increase insulin sensitivity and bring your high blood pressure down. One study done had participants take 1.5 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar 2 minutes before a high-carb meal that included a bagel and orange juice. They found that the group that consumed the apple cider vinegar were up to 34% more insulin sensitive an hour after eating, compared to the group that consumed the placebo. It has this effect because vinegar increases the speed at which our muscles can soak up glucose. It can also have a more immediate blood pressure lowering response because it causes the levels of the hormone renin to decrease. Renin is a hormone released by the kidneys into the blood when sodium is low or blood volume is low, increasing blood pressure. And yes, you've heard that right. Low sodium can actually contribute to high blood pressure. But anyways, when renin decreases, blood pressure decreases as well. And like I said, all you have to do is have 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water before your meals. Number 2, reduce alcohol intake. The second step you can take to reduce your blood pressure is to reduce or even avoid completely alcohol. Like apple cider vinegar, reducing your alcohol intake can have both immediate and long-lasting effects on your blood pressure. A 2016 study looked at men and women who participated in dry January, where they abstained from alcohol for the month. The participants saw lower blood pressure and reduced insulin resistance after the month. And this is partially because alcohol raises the hormone renin, which we spoke about earlier. As we also mentioned earlier, this causes the blood vessels to constrict and in turn blood pressure to rise. I find it really frustrating that moderate alcohol consumption is considered to be a part of a healthy, balanced diet. Alcohol is not good for your physical health, full stop. Does that mean you shouldn't drink it? Well, that's for you to determine. There certainly are potential benefits when it comes to drinking in like a social setting, but it is very frustrating when studies, articles, and even dietary guidelines say that moderate alcohol consumption is okay, and sometimes even go so far as to say it is beneficial. Because honestly, it is hurting you much more than it is helping you when it comes to your blood pressure and when it comes to insulin resistance. Like I said, drink it if you want. I do drink on occasion. But with that being said, don't think you're doing something that's healthy. Now, before we get into the final tip, and honestly the one that's going to be the most effective, I'm going to take a quick moment to tell you about today's sponsor, 𝑆elfDecode, and how they can help you to know if you are at an increased risk of high blood pressure. 𝘾𝙀is a genetics testing and analysis company that gives you personalized health recommendations based on your genes. Understanding our genetic predispositions can help us to understand whether our diet and lifestyle choices are working for or against us. And 𝘾𝙀makes understanding and applying this information easy. 𝘾𝙀 makes it easy to know if you are carrying the genes that put you at an increased risk of high blood pressure. They do this through their blood pressure wellness report. These wellness reports provide an overview of the condition and evidence-based recommendations based on your DNA. Some of the genes associated with high blood pressure include the ones currently up on the screen, and there are several other wellness reports 𝘾𝙀 offers, including thyroid, migraines, and joint pain. If you already have a DNA test, you can upload your file to the 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 website to generate your wellness reports and get personalized recommendations. And if not, you can order a DNA kit from them directly to anywhere in the world. One thing I really want to highlight is that 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 will never share or sell your data with any third-party companies, unlike other DNA testing companies out there. 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 also has an online lab shop where you can order tests such as fasting blood sugar and insulin straight to your door. Currently, the lab tests are only available in the United States, but their DNA testing and analysis is available worldwide. And if you sign up for a 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 membership, you save 50% off lab tests. If you want to check out 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 and find out what your genes can tell you about your health, you can head to healthcoachkate.com/𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀. Thank you again to 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀 for sponsoring this video. Number 3, reduce your carbohydrate intake. As I mentioned before, this final tip we're going to talk about today is going to be the most effective, and that is reducing your carb intake so you are eating a low carb, possibly even ketogenic diet. Now, when I say decrease it, if you go below 100 grams of total carbs in a day, you will definitely see benefits. But reducing consumption to under 50 grams will provide better and faster results. A 2019 study looked at the effects a low-carb diet had on blood pressure. Participants made this diet change for between 10 and 32 months. They saw significant improvements to blood pressure and a 21.5% deprescription of hypertension drugs, all from diet change alone. Low-carb diets are beneficial for hypertension and insulin resistance because they lower insulin levels in the body. High-carb diets require more insulin to be produced, as when we eat carbs, they are broken down into glucose and enter the bloodstream as sugar. This causes our blood sugar to rise, and more insulin is needed to take this excess sugar to the cells in our body. Fat and protein are metabolized differently and do not raise blood sugar, which means there is less insulin needed. And this gives your cells a chance to become more insulin sensitive once again. Now, I know it might seem daunting to reduce carbohydrates in your diet. Modern diets revolve around carbs. We're always eating bread, pasta, rice. But I promise you, it is not as horrible as you might think. And I have a ton of videos on my channel to help you get started. I actually have a 3-day meal plan for insulin resistance, which I will link above, that will help you get started with some delicious recipes. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have high blood pressure and how long you've had it. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. I appreciate every like, every comment, and of course every subscription. They all really help to support my channel, and I hope you guys are finding these videos helpful. And remember to check out today's sponsor, 𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀. I'll put the link in the description box down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video that has 15 symptoms of insulin resistance, so you can check that out here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can check it out here. And if you want to check out my keto diet and carnivore diet coaching programs, you can find them here. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.